We recently learnt that Giga Mexico was going to be the next Tesla factory, so you might have expected Elon to come on stage like this. Instead, this happened.
National Energy Plan.
I'm not going to lie, Tesla Investor Day was one of the least enthusiastic things I've ever seen, and you can't really argue with that, can you? I mean, Stephen Hawking could have given a livelier presentation, and he's dead. There's two types of people then, the ones that watch this and were capable of understanding it, and the ones who could not. I'm somewhere in between, and was trying desperately hard to keep up with and understand the details here. But for an extremely data-heavy presentation, I think almost 4 hours was a little too much for many people to stay focused, let alone awake. After a good night's sleep, time to reflect, and my brilliantly timed man flu has almost subsided, although it's given me this rather nice new voice. I've had to push myself hard to do the almost impossible task for me and use my limited brain to think and join up the dots of what was presented at Tesla Investor Day. Tesla has just detailed how to change our planet from a fossil fuel burning CO2 choking disaster to a fully sustainable, renewable, energy abundant future. Let me break that down for clarity. Fully sustainable, meaning our society must have a neutral or better still a positive impact on the planet. Renewable energy, meaning energy that comes from a source that won't run out. And abundant future means we have so much energy we don't know what to do with it, therefore it becomes incredibly cheap. I don't think many people understand how amazing our future could be. Greta Thunberg should be bouncing off the walls right now. Environmentalists should be ungluing themselves from whatever object they're currently stuck to and trying to find ways to support Tesla's mission. I sincerely hope that David Attenborough might have at least watched a 30-minute supercut of this event and now has a little more hope in his heart for the future of our incredible planet. The very thing he has dedicated his life to, in explaining the fragility and the undoubtable catastrophic effect humans have had on our planet so far. Until now, there has been no real plan of action to get our world off fossil fuels. Tesla's Investor Day should be celebrated as being the ultimate catalyst in moving towards a cleaner, greener future, and for those willing to think, open their eyes and ears as to what was just detailed out by the Tesla team on Investor Day. I hope you'll share a little optimism with me and look forward to a better future for our planet, humanity, and all life on Earth. A relatively big deal, I hope you'll agree. So let's get into it. What was announced? This event explained in detail Tesla's Master Plan Part 3, a clear path to fully sustainable energy on Earth. Let's go through the highlights of Elon's opening remarks. Our energy economy is dirty and wasteful. Over 80% of global energy comes from fossil fuels. However, only a third of global energy delivers useful work or heat due to fossil fuels being so inefficient. So here's a good example. It's like a typical ICE car, an internal combustion engine car, that converts only 25% of energy into motion, which is very wasteful. Whereas electric motors convert over 85% of electrical energy into mechanical energy or motion. And if I've lost you already, let's explain that clearer. Fossil fuels bad and inefficient, an electric economy good and efficient. Yay! Simple. The good news here is we don't need to create as much renewable energy to reach the same amount of energy we currently create using fossil fuels. In fact, just half is needed. A sustainable energy economy is within reach and we should accelerate it. Right, a quick side note on this. You might have noticed this weird number, 165 PWH/year. What's that, I hear you not asking? Well, I'm going to tell you anyway. This P stands for petawatt hours. This is a measurement of energy that is Snoop Dogg high. It's difficult to imagine. 1 kilowatt is 1,000 watts. 1 megawatt is 1 million watts. 1 gigawatt is 1 billion watts. 1 terawatt is 1 trillion watts. 1 petawatt is 1 quadrillion watts, or 1,000 terawatts. It's enormous, but it is at least a measurement that can be used to show the scale that's needed to transform our economy to an electric economy. I know it hurts, my brain hurts too. Give me a kitten or something. Oh, that's nice. Right, come on, are you with me? Don't give up. Here's the star slide of the show. A sustainable energy economy is within reach and we should accelerate it. Here's what's needed. Globally, 240 terawatt hours of battery storage is needed. 30 terawatts of renewable power is necessary, and $6 trillion is how much it'll cost for the manufacturing investment, but rounded up to 10 trillion to be on the cautious side. Just half of the energy we currently make from fossil fuels is required, as I mentioned earlier, due to an electric economy being far more efficient. Less than 0.2% of land area is required to build out sustainable energy projects. Just to show you the scale of this, the green square represents the area needed for solar panels. The blue square shows the land area needed for wind, which would harness enough energy to power the world. Not many people understand this. A very tiny amount of the Earth's surface needs covering with solar panels or wind to create enough energy. Now we have battery storage coming online. We can store that energy and use it for later use. The vast majority of the world is abundant with sunshine that's pouring down on our planet every day. It just needs capturing and then using. Only 10% of the world's GDP is needed to fund this. And there are 0 insurmountable resource challenges, which means we have all the resources to do this. There's nothing that's impossible here. The plan to eliminate fossil fuels looks like this. Powering the grid with renewable energy requires 46 petawatt hours a year and will reduce fossil fuel use by 35%. Switching to EVs for all road transport requires 28 petawatt hours a year and will reduce fossil fuel use by a further 21%. Switching to heat pumps reduces another 22%, and high temperature heat delivery in hydrogen, which is necessary for things like steel production and other extremely energy-intense businesses, will reduce fossil fuel use another 17%. And lastly, sustainable fuel planes and boats. This saves the final 5% reduction in fossil fuels, and as hinted at in the presentation, would require a redesign of ships and planes in the same way that EVs necessarily needed to be redesigned from the ground up as cars. They would need an altogether different architecture, which might answer a question on my previous video of what exactly was Franz so excited to be designing and working on when he was interviewed at the Tesla Museum thing a while ago. I thought it was a Model 2 stroke robotaxi that he was excited about, but maybe the design of the Model 2 and the robotaxi is done and dusted and he's already onto aeroplanes and boats. Anyway, the presentation then went on in detail for each of those segments and outlined exactly what's needed in terms of sustainable energy required, vehicle batteries and stationary storage, plus the costs involved. This slide breaks down the investment needed in all segments and is well worth pausing the video to look and understand what this means. This is the breakdown of what's needed to change our world to an electric economy future. If we grow our production capacity as shown by 2030, we can be 100% sustainable by 2050, which for some of us will hopefully be in our lifetime. I don't know about you, but I was rather taken back by this news. Not just the hope, but we are shown a clear explanation of how this will be achieved. Knowing my kids and possibly grandkids someday will inherit a planet that's worth inheriting, which the hard work and the sacrifice of people presenting Investor Day, Tesla employees, are working tirelessly towards. And by an even smaller contribution, people like me who feel quite honoured to be a Tesla investor and invested in such an incredible world-changing company. Not only is this a no-brainer to be working towards a sustainable energy future, but it'll even cost less than carrying on our current path investing in fossil fuels. A sustainable energy economy actually involves less mineral extraction. The dark grey trucks on the right each represent 1 gigaton of fossil fuel extracting materials, and the green ones sustainable economy materials. Less mining is needed overall. The resources are there to support the transition, and history teaches us the more we look, the more we find. Just look at how much lithium we found once we realised we needed it for electronics and batteries. And finally, recycling will further reduce mineral demand. Batteries can and will be broken down into their core materials and repurposed into brand new batteries. This is cheaper and simpler than mining for more materials and will create the ultimate goal of a closed loop system. Here's Elon's closing remarks.
What we're trying to convey is a message of hope and optimism. Optimism that is based on actual physics and real calculations, it's not wishful thinking. Earth can and will move to a sustainable energy economy and will do so in your lifetime.
Nicely put. Now you may have heard that Tesla is just a car company, so how on earth are they going to change anything other than cars? Well, people like me have been trying to get this message understood by anyone willing to listen and learn for some time now. Indeed, my second video was Tesla, not just a car company. Click the card in the corner if you want to watch that now and your brain's already turned off from this one. That corner or that corner. I don't know what it's going to be. Because guess what? It's not just a car company. It's the company that will transform Earth to sustainable energy. Hence, I get a little excited about this stuff. It's hard to comprehend the scale here, the grandeur of Tesla's mission. But it should not be dismissed because the majority of society cannot pay attention for long enough to hear what Tesla are saying. This includes Wall Street, stock analysts, other car manufacturers. Not many people get this. And believe me, it's extremely hard for my little brain to pay attention to what's being said too. But I'm doing my best to put this Tesla jigsaw together for my own understanding, with the hope that breaking things down to my level might be helpful to others too. I'd highly recommend that you watch Tesla's Investor Day. There's a few supercuts floating around YouTube already which condense it nicely into 30 minutes. And if you have watched it already, what did you think of the event? Were you expecting shiny new objects on stage, or just happy to see a company who let their best engineers talk about their work? Let me know in the comments below. Do like and subscribe if this has been any value to you whatsoever. I know it's hard to understand me, let alone Tesla's plan, but hopefully it's been worth it. Join me on my next video where I'll be looking into Tesla's next gigafactory in Mexico, which will manufacture Tesla vehicles at half the current cost of making a Model 3. Let that sink in. I'm Will, this is the Tesla Jigsaw, and I thank you for watching. Players out, Frank.
Bésame mucho. Each time I cling to your kiss, I hear music divine.